My name's Dr. Judith Glassgold. I'm a clinical psychologist, and I saw this film at the National Multicultural Summit, and I think it's one of the most honest portrayals of some of the forces affecting African American lives right now and issues that affect us all, whoever we are. I think it explored structural racism in a very profound way and lays bare its impact on everyone and how all of us are affected by the forces beyond us, how we're all influenced by our institutions and culture, how both white, black, and all people are affected by power and the existing power structure. Very important movie to see, to understand what's going on now, post-Ferguson.
Good. Thank you, everybody, for coming this morning. I'm happy to be here. My name is Ralph Crowder. I'm the producer of a documentary film called Hands Up, Don't Shoot Our Youth Movement. It took place as a result, obviously, of the events and activities that happened in Ferguson, Missouri that sparked a national, if not international, movement, primarily from the courageous youth of Ferguson, Missouri, who really inspired many people to take courageous stands.
My name is Dr. Michi Fu. I am one of the National Multicultural Conference and Summit coordinators. The conference is run by 4 divisions of American Psychological Association, and you can look us up on our website. NMCS is our acronym, and we're known as The Summit.
One of the reasons why we decided to actually do this particular documentary is because myself, as all of you do, as we consume media, we thought it was very important to tell a different narrative, more in depth about the people in Ferguson, all the various voices around the activities that happened as a result of the death of Mike Brown.
We believe in social justice issues and a safe place to explore very difficult dialogues. We look at social injustices, and so that's part of the reason why we had the film festival this time. Many
times in the media, we were almost groomed and conditioned to just see protesters throwing tear gas back at police and that kind of engagement. But you know, the issues that are arguably happening in Ferguson or anywhere in this country, in any city or town in America, is about real people and real experiences. Without saying too much more, I like to screen the art and then we can have a good discussion afterwards.
Well, I know that it was very powerful because the session ended way past the allotted time, which is extremely meaningful. It means that people need to have dialogue about these type of issues. And that's part of the reason why we made an intentional effort to switch around the program last minute and really insert this film. We believe that the documentary could open up dialogue about some of the current events that are happening in our nation.
My name is Theo. I work in Los Angeles as a faculty member at Antioch University. I actually do most of my work looking at people who are involved in the sex industry with police brutality, which is one of the reasons I think Dr. Fu asked me to be a part of this panel. And unfortunately, I'm not a stranger over the last 3 years to brutality. However, I do feel like I got super close to it in a way that I have not before watching this film. And so for me, I'm just recognized about how individuals treat one another. Like that's what I'm actually like wrestling with right now. It's just like how we interact and what are the ways in which we need to interact with one another, and what are the ways that which consumerist mass media tells us that we need to interact with one another. That's what I'm left with. And I'm not articulate because I'm still processing.
How can we use films like this to either do group therapy, show in the community, and perhaps have workshops, or if people teach diversity courses, such as myself, then to use this with their students?
I want to open it up because we have a wealth of information, and we're lucky enough also to have the filmmaker here. What are thoughts, questions, reactions, or comments that you all have? Yeah?
Dr. Michael Mobley, currently a faculty member at Salem State University and the president of Division 17, which is the Society of Counseling Psychology. I think the film was quite powerful and moving at an emotional level. I think it serves as an effective tool for teaching and learning, helping individuals to think about the realities of race and power and oppression in our society and the ways that they can make a difference in the lives of Black people. Watching, hearing, and listening to the voices that were just featured in this documentary. And when I say the voices, I mean all the voices, including the white gentleman that was prominently talking about he realizes that he has racist friends that he tries to negotiate that relationship with, as well as the young Black woman who talked about Amnesty International being on the ground in Ferguson. I just listened to their testimonies about what really is happening there on the ground in Ferguson. And as you talk about the corporate media structure, I tend to be a CNN watcher and MSNBC and a few others, sometimes BBC. But it was startling to me to watch this documentary and not see as the background or looping in the looting and all that stuff we saw on CNN. That even when they interviewed someone few days afterwards or weeks afterwards, they will always maybe go back to the looting and the crime and so forth as integrating that into the narrative. Here, I got a chance to hear the experiences from those folks' perspectives who live in that community day in for years and years without that backdrop. And that's startling to me, and it raises questions for me about what is the effects of CNN looping back to those dramatic, what they call rioting and looting. Yes, that took place, and yes, we need to analyze that and think about that, as some of the folks in this documentary said. There's other strategies, there's other ways to address the problem, but we keep seeing that in the media's image.
Hello everyone, my name is Gabrielle Johnson. I'm currently an intern at Pacific Clinics in Pasadena, California. And watching this documentary, I've watched clips of it prior, but it brings up cognitive defeat. So essentially what I'm hearing is there's nothing that we can do that's constructive. We have to die in order for something to change. And that really hurts because I think of my people and I think of them dying and being murdered daily just for a cause. Whereas there are people who don't need to die for similar causes or other causes of less value.
Good morning. My name is Michael Drew, and I am a new doc student at UGA in counselor education. One of the things that I experienced in watching this film, I think we were maybe 30 seconds into it, and I could feel a visceral reaction. It's very moving. I appreciate documentaries especially because they give voice and they bring this forward in a context that is very meaningful and very moving.
I'm on a more intellectual level, just being on internship and trying to use my voice as a student. And it's difficult because I feel as though I'm in a cross between having to keep my head down and finish and be successful so that I can help my people. But at the same time, I need to speak. I need to enlighten my peers. And that is a very difficult dance to do when it comes to being a student or being in the professional world, because how do you educate someone on something so personal, something so intimate, something so painful? So I really appreciate and value this documentary.
How do you see this film being utilized? You know, we talked about, you know, sometimes things just need to be acknowledged and sometimes things need to be talked about, and then there's action, but there's steps to action.
Right.
And with this particular film, how do you feel, where is this film utilized in that process of heading toward action or even just having productive conversations of acknowledgement?
I think this film's a really important way to first lay bare some of the forces that affect people's lives, which is really important for developing the critical consciousness and critical analysis that can lead to action. First, we have to be honest about what's really going on and the forces shaping people's lives before we can come up with a plan of action and a way to address structural inequality and racism in this country. So this, I think, forces everybody to look at things and acknowledge what's going on so that then they can begin to think about what needs to change and how they're going to go about doing it.